Hi, I'm Marianne Foster, and welcome to Therapeutic Kinesiology. I specialize in helping people with chronic back pain and postural problems using kinesiology-based exercises. Kinesiology is the science of human movement, specifically of joint and muscle function. This is my specialty from over 30 years of teaching body mechanics to massage therapy students and in professional training programs. Today, I'm going to show you my 10 steps for training postural muscles in the trunk, which run in a loop from the base of the spine to the base of the head and also wrap the waist. These muscles are really important for preventing injury from repetitive use movements and from poor postural strain. To help you be successful doing the video today, I've created anatomical images of each of the muscle groups so you can see where they're located in your body. I'll also show you where to palpate them on yourself so that you can tell if they're working correctly and actually contracting. Okay, let's get started. For the first exercise, we want to get our blocks stacked. We want to get our head over our thorax, over our pelvis. This is to establish a base of support. Put your hands on your waist and imagine your pelvic bones are like a bowl of water, and tip the bowl back to center and to the front to center. And as you do this, think of your hips and shoulders being square. Keep your shoulders over your hips so you're not leaning forward and you're not leaning back, or you're not arching. As you can probably feel as you're doing it, that your sit bones that you're sitting on, when you go back, it takes you behind them a little bit. When you go to the middle, you're right on top. And when you go forward, it takes the weight toward the pubic bone. So find that middle place and then just kind of jimmy around a little bit in the middle so you really feel those sit bones. The second exercise is for the diaphragm. So feel this area on the lower ribs. When I inhale, the dome flattens, and when I exhale, the muscle relaxes and it goes back up. So I'm going to put my hands right here, and I'm going to feel as I inhale, my ribs get wider. As I exhale, they sink. Inhale, feel the lifting and widening. Exhale, sink. The next one is, we call this the Transversus Abdominis. Now feel that edge of your ribs and take it all the way around to your lower back. Then feel your hip bones go down to your pubic bone, all the way around to your lower back. So you feel your thumbs here, and then here at the back of the ribs. So this muscle has horizontal fibers, and they literally wrap the waist like a corset. To feel this muscle, notice where the crease is in your hips. Here's my belly button. I'm going to go right below my belly button, lateral to my pubic bone, above the crease in my hips. Let your tummy relax and hang out. Just let yourself pooch out and slowly contract and draw your abdomen straight back. If it's hard to find this lower area where you're contracting, go ahead and let it relax again, and just tighten up the pelvic floor, the perineum, and actually you can see the perineum. Those are the pelvic floor muscles. It's also called the urogenital diaphragm. It's the base of the body, and that perineum works together with the transversus. So when I feel it contract, right now I have mine contracted, if I tap it, I can feel it hardens right there. And I want you to notice that when I contract it, I'm going to relax and then contract. Notice how my pelvis doesn't move. So I don't want to tuck under. Once you feel it contract, put your hands back on your ribs, keep it contracted, and take 3 deep breaths, expanding into the lateral width of your lower ribs. And once you have this muscle trained, usually it'll just contract automatically. Like I have to concentrate on relaxing my transversus because it's always on. When I'm up, it's on. And that's because I've been practicing it for many, many, many years. Okay, the next muscle are the obliques. And these are big muscles. They start up on the ribs and they wrap the waist. So they're coming down like this. And they're in the lower back. There are two obliques. Feel your hip bones and then go right above your hip bones to the soft part of your waist. Make sure your transversus and your pelvic floor are contracted. And then slowly twist. Now I'm pinching this side so I can feel it contracted. Twisting from one side to the other. You can reach your arm across your body. That'll help you feel it contracted, but make sure to pinch your waist so that you know you're contracting. This is a really weak muscle on a lot of people. When it's toned, it narrows the waist. It's like one of those Chinese finger puzzles. You put your finger in and you pull and it gets real narrow. So this is an important one. We can even lift the legs, go one then the other, and it should stay contracted. And it's very important to stabilize the lower back in when you're walking or doing any kind of locomotion. Step 5, the next muscle on the chain is called the psoas major. It's along the front of the lumbar spine. There it is on the left, labeled. And here's my model, Betty, and I built her a psoas. There's the psoas, and we're actually looking into the pelvic bowl there. We can see the perineum. Betty tends to be tipped forward a little bit, so we can see right down into her perineum. So this muscle, we're gonna palpate it, feel the crease, and go right to about the middle. So here's the side, the center, right about the middle of the crease. And I'm gonna lift one leg up, just kind of saw in the crease there a little bit. And there it is. You should feel a tendon working in there. Lifting one leg to feel it contract. And what it does is it stabilizes the front of my lumbar spine. Another way to feel it is to, again, keep your hands in there and just lean back. I'm keeping my spine straight as I lean back, and you should feel like a pulling up right here behind the transversus. And when you sit up, keep that length in the front. Should feel pretty good. If you're leaning back and you lift one leg up, you'll really feel it working on that side. There it is. I can feel it kind of hardening in there. I'm right on the crease. Next exercise is the anterior part of the cervical spine. And I'm helping her feel it with my hand under her chin. These muscles are behind the throat, the voice box. They're very deep. So I'm going to put my hand under my chin. I'm lifting the back of my head. And then I'm going to lean back a little bit. So actually it works with the psoas. Now, watch me for a minute. If I do that, I've let go of it. So I feel this lift along the front of my spine. Another way to feel it is just to lift the back of the head without giving yourself a double chin. Let it go, and then lift the back of the head. And I like to, once I'm lifted, I like to rock my head just to keep it loose. And then also just a little easy turn right to left. Okay, we'll take a little break here because I know this is a lot of material, especially for those of you just learning about your anatomy. So kudos to you for sticking with it and delving into this material with me. Let's take a moment to do a brief review of what we just went over. In step 1, we established a seated base of support with the seated pelvic rock, which was positioning the weight of your pelvis behind, on top of, and in front of the sit bones. Then in step 2, we looked at diaphragmatic breathing, putting our hands on the lower ribs and breathing into the lateral expansion of the lower ribs. Step 3 involved waking up and activating the pelvic floor or perineum muscles, along with the Transversus Abdominis. We put our hands on our lower abdomen and then just gradually drew it back using 1/3 maximum effort while drawing the pelvic floor up. We also coordinated these lower postural muscles with diaphragmatic breathing by holding this and then taking 10 deep breaths into the lateral expansion of your lower ribs. This constitutes one training cycle. If you're doing this, when you're doing this and practicing at home, make sure to do at least 4 training cycles and relax your lower abdomen in between each one so you can feel when the muscles are contracted and when they're relaxed. Step 4, we started whittling the waist, working on those oblique muscles, putting our hands on the side of the waist, narrowing the waist, and then doing twisting motions in place. I would recommend doing at least 20 of these, 10 to each side. Then in step 5 and 6, we looked at the postural muscles along the front of the spine, starting with the psoas major. We put our hands here and did a single leg lift. Then we also leaned back, which contracts the psoas major and also contracts the muscles we worked on in step 6, which are the anterior cervical stabilizers. Another way to contract those is lifting the back of the skull while keeping the chin lifted and doing the exercise where you draw your head and your hands away from each other to focus, again, lifting the back of the head. So we only have 3 more steps left to do, and those are 3 muscle groups. So please stick with me to the end because it's really worth it. Your body will thank you for it. Okay, this next one is called the Spinal Multifidi, and it goes from the sacrum all the way up the back to the base of the skull. We're going to focus on the lumbar part of this muscle. And to palpate it, I'm going to put your fingertips right in your lower back. I'm on either side of the vertebrae. And then I'm sitting down. I'm sitting in neutrals. And I'm going to lean forward just about 20 degrees. And you should feel that muscle harden under your fingertips and then sit back up. Now, some of you may notice as you sit back up that the muscle goes soft. If it does, that means it's not working. And this is a hard one. If you feel it go soft, go ahead and lean forward again. Feel it harden. And then slowly sit back up and keep it contracted. And the way you do that is mind over muscle. There's no special trick. You just have to concentrate on keeping it contracted. So we're going to do this a few times because this is a very hard one to contract if it's not engaged. It can be the hardest one to engage if it's turned off. What turns it off is standing like this. So see how I bow forward when I contract it? It brings my lower back back and it lengthens my spinal curve. So here's on, there's off, there's on, off. And I'm really focused. I'm not doing it for my hips. I'm really focused on contracting here. Okay, so the next one is the posterior neck. Now we're up in this part of the multifidi. We're in the neck. When it's not working, you get this kind of hinging in the neck. Okay, so same thing. As it works, the curve in my neck lengthens. So lifting the back of the head, and I can even push back against my head to feel the curve lengthen and feel it come back. I can also do the waiter's bow and lean forward. Another way to feel that lift is imagine if you're reading something, put it too close to your face so you get a blurry focus and then move it away until you can focus. And you should feel the back of your neck lift. This one is really important for people who have headaches and tend to sit like this in a desk all day where they hinge in the back of the neck. Okay, the next one is the upper trapezius. This muscle starts at the base of the skull. It comes out over to the point of the shoulder, and then it goes to here. And what typically happens in this trapezius is the upper part gets tight, shortens the neck, and then the lower part gets overstretched and it rounds. So to feel this muscle, just run your hand across the top of the shoulder and feel that big muscular bulge right there. Now I'm going to elevate the shoulder. You should feel it increase and then relax. So to feel this muscle contract, what we're going to do is we're going to put ourselves in that rounded position, and then we're going to imagine having suspenders and lifting the front, lengthening the neck, and you should feel this area relax a little bit. So if I'm rounded, it's real contracted. As I lift my suspenders, you'll feel it go back into position. And what's happening are the lower fibers of the trapezius are pulling down, which creates kind of a flattening effect across the back, and the upper fibers lengthen. So we want the lower fibers working as postural muscles. The upper fibers suspend the shoulders. And it's important when you do this one to make it really subtle. So I'm not doing like this. So if I'm round, I'm not squeezing my shoulders together, but what I'm doing is I'm just simply turning my shoulder. So the rest of my body stays fairly stable. Okay, step 10, which is putting it all together, kind of like playing the notes on a postural flute, where you contract one muscle, then the next, then the next, and the next. I'm going to let you do this review on your own because I know you've already done a lot. And I actually put the review in another video called the Postural Flute Review. So I encourage you to go to that or to play this video over again, steps 1 through 9, at another time, just to see how much you remember. Thanks so much for joining me today and for going through all of this. I know this was a lot of information. Just remember, when your back starts bothering you during the day, you can just take a little mini break and do one of these exercises, or 2 or 3, or whatever you can remember. Stick with the ones that are easiest for you. And hopefully you'll feel better than when you started. And I hope you feel better now than when you started this video. I really appreciate your time and your attention. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up, share with your friends, and join my YouTube channel. Okay, we'll see you later. Goodbye for now.